Coach, start off, and then we'll open it up to questions.
Okay, first of all, looking back on our game, watching the film, real pleased. Really, with a complete team, real proud of our players defensively. I thought we played with great energy. To hold a team to the rush yards that we did was real impressive. We disrupted the quarterback at times, got to him a few times too. I thought that was really good. Offensively, we were very balanced, the most balanced we've been all year, and it showed. RJ had another good game. Dylan came in and really handled the offense extremely well, made some big time throws, and we got in a rhythm. So that was a really good win, and now we're set up, to finish this thing strong. So had a good practice last night, playing an Arizona State team that 6-2, really good team. Kenny Dillingham is doing a super job. He's from there. That's his hometown, and his team is playing with his personality. Their defense, I think they're number 25 in the country defensively. They're very good against the run. They'll get after you, and then offensively they have a running back that is one of the best in the entire country. So, it'd be a good test for us. Looking forward to going out west. Questions?
Coach, for Dylan Rizk is a phenomenal starting debut. It's going to be hard to replicate those stats in the future, but just for a first-time outing, when you watch the film, what stuck out the most? What maybe surprised you, and what were you most impressed with?
Well, Dylan knows the offense. He's been around here the longest. He knows the offense really inside and out. He really managed everything well. The game slowed down for him, for the first time, out there starting. That was real impressive. Probably the most impressive thing. And he made a couple mistakes early, but he settled down, and he made some good plays in the pass game. Made a couple with his feet too. The big third down when we were backed up with that. But he handled himself extremely well and was very efficient in the passing game.
Chris, you talked about last week after you gave the play calling to Tim Harris, how much you kind of stayed away a little bit, what with the defensive side of things.
Yeah.
What did you see from Tim? And I know he talked a little bit last night about how you gave him some advice, or you gave some helpful hints here and there as well. But what did you see from him his first time calling a game, and how much it means to him, and for him growing up as a high school coach and getting an opportunity to do that? Yeah,
I got a lot of confidence in him, and like I said, he's been around here and been with me a lot, and so he's been waiting on this moment. And he sees the moment. He did a great job. Had good command of what they were giving us, and and really put our guys in really good situations. So that's just the first, and I'm really excited for him.
Coach, we talked a lot about the goal late in the season is to continue improving. All the good teams do that. Obviously, this team's seen a lot of changes on the field, a lot of changes on the sideline with the coaching staff. What is the big thing that you felt like was cured in the Arizona win, and was this enough of a reset?
Well, we had changes, and like we said, I mean that sometimes change is good. There was a lot of positive vibes on the sideline, even from the start. And it kind of goes back to both of our coordinators, our relationship guys. Our players believe in both of them and really responded well for both of them, and it carried over, in our game.
What are some play calls that you liked most from Saturday?
The ones that worked. That's what I liked most, probably. Yeah.
With Addison Williams taking a step back to begin the season and being able to observe and watch, and then now getting into the defensive coordinator role, do you find like a newfound confidence in him being able to grow?
Yeah, I mean, I think thing with Addison, I mean, that was a learning experience for him last year, and then we brought in some veteran guys, some very talented guys, and then the guys that have been here, they have a lot of confidence in him, and it was good for him to sit back and see things from a different light, I believe, and the guys played extremely hard for him. It didn't surprise me at all, and he did a really good job, managing the game as it went.
You mentioned Kenny Dillingham just a minute ago. How do you describe his personality and what you're seeing on film from Arizona State that reflects it?
Yeah, he has. First of all, he has a dynamic personality, and he's an extremely hard worker. He was smart guy the year he was with me. He helped me a whole lot. He knows football. He can relate to players. He's got all the attributes to being a really good coach. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he's got that thing going like he does. And got some good coaching staff around him. David Gibbs is a guy that's off the field guy that is out there with him too, obviously, that's been with us. So there's some familiarity.
Coach, you said the goal moving forward is to make a bowl game. Does that satisfy the expectations coming into the season?
You know, it is what it is right now. I mean, obviously, you know, we didn't foresee it going exactly like it is, but what we can do is control what is ahead of us. And we're real happy with the way we played and the way our guys responded to a tough 5-game stretch. And now we're trying to finish it. And, you know, it's one game at a time. That's the way we're approaching it. We're playing a 6-2 team on the road in our conference. I think everybody knows in this conference is a lot of teams that are good teams, and you got to play well to win. So, you know, we're taking one game at a time, and, you know, our goal is to make a bowl game. And to do that, you know, we got to play good football.
Dylan obviously had a great debut last week. What are the challenges now preparing for his first road game?
Well, I think a road game, I think you just said it. I mean, I think that's the big thing. You know, at home it's a different deal. You know, it was quiet and he could articulate the things, and, you know, on the road it's going to be loud. And, you know, Dillingham has that place where, you know, it's going to be loud. Those people are going to show up, and, you know, we're going to have to handle the noise. And that'll be the biggest challenge, I think, for a new starter.
What's it like to have young guys like Chasen Johnson stepping into the starting lineup back-to-back weeks?
Yeah, I mean, he, you know, he's been a guy that he had a great spring, first of all, and you could tell that his skill set, and then he's, you know, done a really good job for us. We got a lot of confidence in him right now, and he's playing at a high level for a true freshman.
Coach, to have the game you guys had over the weekend, how can you use that kind of performance to make a resurgence going into these last few games in this season?
Yeah, well, the good thing is we played our best overall game. You know, and like I said, we made some changes. It really gave our players some new life. I know you get a chance to talk to some of our players, and they can speak on it probably a little bit further. But you know, we got a little new energy, and we got 3 games left, and, you know, we got to finish it one game at a time.
The teams you've played from out west, when they've come here, they've left a day early just because of the travel and the time change and stuff. You're going out west.
Yeah.
Is there anything different you do? Do you go early? Do you stay overnight?
Yeah, I know. You know, the good thing for us, we'll go keep our normal routine. Obviously, it's a long flight. That's probably the biggest difference. But we have an off week, you know, next week. So it's not like we got to rush back in routine and all that. So we'll keep the same plan. We'll have to leave it a little earlier and all that and have a long flight. But we'll try to stay on schedule the best we can.
And I wanted to ask about S.J. Tui is moving on. He's meant a great deal to this program. I know he was part of your inaugural staff, your first chief of staff, and did a lot with the Kingdom. Just what was his impact these last few years?
Yeah, S.J. was one of the more important people, if not the most important person since I've been here. Not just setting our program up when he was the chief of staff, the right-hand man, but what he did with our collective starting from scratch is unbelievable. And he laid a foundation for the future. I can't say enough good things about him. I mean, he's in the AD world now, and he'll be an AD and a big shot before long. And, you know, I'm real proud of him, and, you know, really proud of the person he is.
Gus, RJ had another big performance on Saturday night. Is there anything he does that doesn't impress you anymore? I mean, based on what he's been able to do this season.
Yeah, he's impressive. And what I appreciate about him is the way he prepares, the way he practices. I mean, it doesn't matter if we went through the 5-game losing streak or a game like he comes and brings his A game every day in practice. And I think he's one of the big reasons why the other guys hadn't let up. And we got some other leaders that have set the tone too. But, you know, he didn't say much. But when he does, people listen. You know, he spoke to our team before, when we were at the hotel before the game. And it resonated with a lot of the guys.
Coach, you mentioned that you love play calling and it was hard giving it up. But do you think giving it up has allowed you to concentrate and have better control over the team?
You know, like I said, I think the big thing as a leader, you got to do what's best for your team. This day and time, I mean, the job description of a head coach, like I said, the last year, maybe year and a half, is like accelerated. It's almost like a different, I'm not going to say a different profession, but it is so much more. And so I just evaluate everything, and that was best for our team. And obviously Tim seize the moment. It was really good for me to be with the defense more and with Coach Addy more during the transition and all that. And so, yeah, that sometimes you just do what's best for your team. And that's what I felt strong about doing.
Do you feel like you're able to apply more discipline, being able to be on all parts of the team now?
Well, I think more of being on top of things is probably the best way to put it. Having a better feel for everything that goes with it, and not, in the film room worried about 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1.
What stands out to you about Arizona State's running back Cam Scatterbaugh and the challenge that he presents to
You got to gang tackling. That's what stands. He breaks tackles. They did a really good job last week, scheming up, throwing it to him, and getting him in situations in the past. But he's a dynamic player. That really starts with him.
Coach, was the playbook completely open for Dylan? And if not, does it excite you that you can probably take on more after what you saw?
Yeah, so he knows the offense. He's been here for a little over 2 years, so he knows the ins and outs. And Tim could call anything, and he has a good understanding of the whole thing. And I think that showed. There was some new wrinkles, some new plays, and all that. And so yeah, he can execute. The whole playbook.
He mentioned during his press conference the other night his preparedness, Dylan. What stood out to you about just the way he's absorbed information over the course of the year and a half he's been here?
Yeah, like I said, he's had a lot of reps. He understands the passing game extremely well with protections and everything goes with it. RPO game, he does a really good job with understanding his reads and really everything that goes with it. And it just carried over. It was what he did for the first start. It was really hats off to him. It was really a phenomenal effort. He played with great effort. He played with great toughness. He blocked on a guy. Now we got to help him. We don't want him to block, guys moving forward, unless it's for the game. But I just love, he's playing it like it's a Super Bowl. And that's who he is. And, real proud of him. He sees the moment. And he's a great example for all the other younger guys that we have on our team about just seizing the moment when the opportunity presents itself.
Do a few more.
Coach, your next 2 games are away. I know you got the bye week in between, but how do you help your players prepare for all that travel?
Yeah, I think the big thing, like we said earlier, is going to be the noise more than anything. Being on the road with a quarterback that hadn't started on the road. As far as this, this time in the year, you just about have your routine when you travel, and so it's not like a shock to your system. The only difference is the 5-hour flight. But our guys they'll handle that okay.
We know how big Kobe is in the pass game, but like we've said, different players caught passes on Saturday. How important is it to begin to spread the ball around and find?
Yeah, I think when we spread the ball around, because you saw earlier in the season, teams would double Kobe and all that, and the fact that we're getting more guys involved, it helps everything. And not only does it help everything, it helps the run game too. It all kind of works together.
Speaking of that, Jacoby obviously was trying to get his confidence back early in the season after an injury last year. 200-yard games back to back. What's he been to this team?
Yeah, he's playing with a lot of confidence right now, and you've seen it probably the last half of the season in practice. His confidence, and getting everything that goes with it. More familiar with the offense, and then when he's got the ball, he sees the moment, and he's tough to handle after the catch. I think you can see that, but couldn't be more happy for him. He's a wonderful human being, and he's waited his time, and he sees the moment.
Coach, we never got to ask you a couple weeks ago. A former player came and called, released a letter to you saying he had some problems with your chief of staff, Ross Newton. Do you have any response to that?
Yeah, I've only kicked off one person since I've been here, and that was because of an arrest. All right, we wish him nothing but the best.
Coach, offense and defense both had strong games. Special teams, wanted to hear your evaluation of them. Gave up 3 50-yard punts out of 3 inside the 20. They want to know how you felt about the special teams performance.
We've got to catch the ball. I think that's the biggest thing, the hidden yards right there. And I think the big one for me was the ball was down there on the 5-yard line, and they flipped the field. I mean, the wind was blowing a little bit, but we got to back up. We got to put him in better position with that. They pinned the ball down on the one. That was kind of a tough one. It was kind of raining, and the guy kicked it, and that was a tough one. But the one that, you know, we had on the 5-yard line, the hidden yards right there, that was disappointing with that. But we got to help him out. We got to move him back when the wind's blowing.
Yes, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I mean, how much of you know, getting that win, breaking that losing streak, how much of a relief did you notice in the locker room and maybe in practice with some of the players? I mean, to be able to put that behind them now and kind of turn the focus.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, the guys have hung in there, and just to see the smile on their faces in the locker room and to play a good, clean football game, I mean, that was a great feeling and great to see.
Thanks,
Yeah,
everybody.
can I ask real quick about Coach Dillingham? Because he was with you, I know you just answered an earlier question, but he's with you in 2019. I know he'd been with Mike Norvell. I know he was a young guy at that point. He's still a young head coach. But when he was with you for that year, did you see future head coach in Kenny Dillingham?
Yeah, you know, he got a special thing about him. You know, I went to visit Mike when he was a head coach at Memphis and spent time and watched practice and got a chance to meet him there. And you could just tell that he has a dynamic personality, and it really made a positive impression on me. And then, you know, obviously when got a chance to hire him as OC, that had a lot to do with it. And then Mike's confidence in him and so I got a chance to spend a year with him, and, you know, he helped out a lot. You know, obviously we had a good year, Bo Nix's freshman year, and he did a good job. So it doesn't surprise me at all. He's a young guy, but, you know, he doesn't act young. I mean, he's got a gift.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Coach.